The Department of Education, Division of Tangub City, in partnership with the local government unit of Tangub, presents Ang Tangkub, Transforming Advancement in the New Normal, guiding K-12 learners under broadcast media and instructional program, crafted in response to the need of making education possible and accessible to students at the comfort of their homes. It covers the most essential competencies, thematically layered in drama plays which were originally written, directed, and performed by teachers to see to it that education is securely provided. This is Ang Tangkub.
TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya.
Hello everyone and hello learners. Today is March 31, 2022 and it's another good Thursday. Entrepreneurs ug sa mga future entrepreneurs. Live na live sa here in Facebook at DepEd Tayo Tangub and Astral Academy. I am teacher Genevieve from Tangub City National High School.
And I am teacher Jade, and we are your teacher
Facility teachers
for today. Yes.
Okay, so learners, the heart of e-business is a product or services. And up to this moment, you already had decided a product or service that you can sell to your target market.
Yes, and your products and services should be known to your customers through its name.
Yes.
And now, do you already have in mind in the name of your product, or you still have thinking on what could be the right name of your products or services?
All right, so bear with us learners because this afternoon we will talk another topic in entrepreneurship with the competency develop a brand name. That is, after this lesson, you will be able to develop a brand name of your own products or services that you can offer to your market. This is very important to learn because it will help you acquire insights and techniques on how you are able to come up with a unique and meaningful name of your product or service that is significant to the business that you have planned.
Okay, so learners, for a new business, creating and effectively marketing new brand name is one of the most challenging aspects of starting a business.
Okay, when you choose the wrong name and customers have no idea what your business stands for or what it does. Okay, when you choose the right name and customers immediately identify with your value proposition. So it is important step. So let's review some of the basics.
Okay, so narin ha sa inyong screen no makita. In developing a brand name of product, you are in the process of branding.
Yes.
So branding is the act of creating a brand.
That's true. And this process involves the positioning your business or product in the market, like carving out your own place in the market or devising brand strategy on how you will reach your goals or objectives of your business, and then creating your name, your verbal identity, or designing a corporate identity or product, your visual identity. Then writing brand messaging, the verbal and the written tone, and setting brand standards on how you keep your brand consistent and strong.
Okay, so according to Canon, Perrault and McCarthy, 2008, branding means the use of a name,
Yes.
term, symbol, or design, or a combination of this.
Okay.
To, of course, it is to identify, a product.
Yes, to identify your product. Okay, brand is name or mark that is intended to identify the seller's product and differentiate it from the product of the competitor. So
Yes.
example, ana sir kat ng mga Air 2021, that's a brand
That,
name.
yes.
Baga, ngalan sa business, sa
Yes.
airline
Yes,
company.
airlines.
But Dato Puti.
Dato puti.
Suka.
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 Yes.
Suka or Tuyo.
Toyo.
How about PLDT? This is a telecommunication service provider. This one, NOR. So brand name. So it's a seasoning, di ba?
Yes.
So muna siya mga example sa mga brand name or company or business name.
Okay, so speaking of brand, no? So a brand is an identifying symbol, mark, or logo, name, word, and or sentence that companies use to distinguish their product from others.
Yes, also, a brand name will always be incredibly even if progressive business experts claim that significance of brand names is fading. Kumbaga, as an entrepreneur, therefore, it is important that you spend a considerable amount of time and effort in developing your brand name.
Okay, so we have this question, Ma'am
Yes, sir.
Gina. So why and what could be the benefits in developing a brand name of our own product or services? So
Okay.
the first is brands make it easy to identify the product or service. Of course, kay kung walay brand,
Dili ma-identify.
dili pa
Unsa
unsa may ngalan aning kuan di ay nga product, no?
Product.
So kung naatay suguon nga ato sa kuan basta ka nang pangita diya og ahay gusto nimo. Oh, di ba? So wala dili siya ma-identify dayon.
Yes, sir.
And it assures the buyer that they get the same quality of products. Mo ni siya ang pinaka-importante kaayo sa mo tabitog na ay mga imit bitaw nga mga products, no? And then ma-identify mo gud na through their branding, the color, no, the feature, the design,
the
no?
packaging.
Yes.
So they have ma-identify nimo. Assurance, there's assurance of the quality of the products.
Yes, and
Another
next is it reduces, no, price comparison. Okay.
Simple na siya, sir, kay if ever ang product is durable, of course, mo prefer jud ka nga masay ang price ato. Okay ra
Yes.
sa customer.
Kung gusto ka gatong tag Gisra
baratuhon na
nga
siya.
bartuhon
So,
ra, so
depende
dili
na
gyud siya expected nga kanang taas ang iyahang
quality
koan.
sa product.
Yes.
So, inana siya, it reduces the price comparison. Another is, it adds prestige to the product of the seller. Kung baga, unsa reputation na siya sa part sa seller po, no? O sa product o sa seller. Na siya kanang bali relationship sa product o kanang sa namaligya sa product.
Yes,
Kumbaga.
yes.
So, it provides legal protection to the seller. Kumbaga, ikaw may tag-iyaan na or ikaw ba kanang namaligyaan na nga products, that's it. Nga na siya maka-provide siya protection sa imo, legal protection. Another is it helps in your product market segmentation. Okay, that's for the benefits on developing a product name or brand name.
Okay, so of course, ma'am, no, how to develop a brand name. So this is very 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 important kay mao man ni ato ang topic, di ba karon? Mao man ni ato nga dapat makakaano og brand name. So unsaon ray pag-develop og brand name, ma'am?
Yes.
So of course, no, ang ato ang buhaton, no, if you are ready to brand your business, you need to have a clear understanding of what developing brand
Yes.
actually involves before you really get started.
That's
And
right.
sakto gini siya nga kung ano nga kinahanglan gyud nga klaro.
Clear
Oh.
understanding.
Klaro imuhang pagsabot kung unsa gid imuhang gusto nga
i-develop
nga
mo,
i-develop.
unsa nga product.
Yes, And of course, no, your brand development process should always follow these major steps.
Okay,
So
na yung mga steps.
kani nga mga steps mo ni siya makatabang, no? No, in developing a brand name
Yes.
or in creating a brand name. Yes, ma'am.
So the first step is learners decide what is going to be brand. Is it branding a product, a service, or a company, or an individual? Okay, so mo na siya imo siyang i-decide unsa imong gina-brand, ang imong buhatan og name, ang imo ba kang product.
Yes. Oh, so imo ba kang
Okay,
product
diba,
alone?
ang business di ba naaman sa kay kagulo yung kanang name, di ba?
Yes, true.
So unsa imo ha, product, the service or the company or the business?
Oh, I think
Okay.
I have an idea po ani siya, ma'am.
Yes,
Kay
sir.
I've gone with a training before
Yes.
regarding the branding.
Mm.
Sa akong nahinumduman,
Branding of
branding sa kanang saon pud paghimo og kanang
okay,
name. So sa
yes.
more on sa mo isa ano mo gud IT sa services. So
Okay.
so here nari a product, a service or a company. So sa amo nga ibutang na mo supposed to be for example JM stands for
Okay,
Jade Mark,
yes,
no?
yes.
So JM's
JM.
online services,
That's
something
it.
like
That's
that.
for
Or
the business
printing,
name.
printing services, something na. So
business name.
mo na siya ang
So you have to decide, di ba?
yes,
Kung
unsa gid kung product siya, so for example kung food, no?
Food, unsa nga klase nga food.
Unsa man imong ikanin mo kung services lang o unsa food. So
para-
dapat clear gid siya.
Okay.
Dapat
Para
straight
dili
sila.
siya complicated.
Yes.
Focus ka sa unsa imong gusto nga iba-brand or tagaan og name. Alright, so another is
Yes, of course you have to do after you decide, no, kung unsa yung imong gustong
Yes.
i-brand.
yes.
You have to do the research. After that,
Very
okay, unsa
important.
man ni nako di unsa may first na kung buhaton
Mm.
if ever nako na nako ni. So first, you have to find out everything to know about the market. So
Yes.
pag nakahuna ka nga okay, ang ako ang i-brand is about the food. So now you're going to do a research a feasibility study. Di ba mo na siya
Balik ka dito sa imong market. Sa
market na
imong
rin ka.
target
So
market.
kung mag-food ka, imuhang ikuan og ang market ana nga lugar,
Yes.
no? And then you have to find out everything there is to know about the product or service. So
Oh.
not only the location, no,
Yes.
but also the product itself or
Product
the
itself.
service nga imuhang
Ina-offer.
i-offer
Yes.
sa imuhang company.
Okay, so also you have to find out a connection about the product to the end user. So gikan sa imong product dito sa imong consumer para
Yes.
sa imong isulti
Kung
ganina.
kinsay
This
ko
includes the taste, unsa kay taste kung foods
kung
siya,
sa food siya o
Okay.
unsay hilig nila ay unsay
Oo.
may taste
mga preferences
kay
nila.
lain man gyud pud ang
Oo.
anong mga tao good.
Yes, that's it. And in color, the color of the product, the color nga gusto sa imong users or consumers, the consumer behavior, so ilang mga personality,
Yes.
and more about the market. Also, the culture of the people.
Yes, ma'am. So
Considering-
sa ko ang nahinumduman, no, speaking of color
Oo,
sa branding,
oo.
it really helps
Sa
the
packaging siya specific,
yes,
no?
every color mong good sa company good nga naghimo silang brand is naa na siya kanang corresponding nga meaning. Kung
Meaning,
red
yes.
man siya ang meaning niya,
Sa-
kung red siya meaning power siya.
Like,
Na
kasi
siya
story
na siya
about
I think
sa business or
7 na siya kabuok nga mga
Yes,
colors. Oh.
that's it.
Okay, so the next step is position the product or the service. So here you are going to find and win a place for the offering in the marketplace. So katulad akong giingon
Yes.
ganiha nga ang location.
Oo.
Kung
Specific nga
best nimo siya nga location nga ma-offer nimo ang imuhang services or products nga kanang ugso pa halinon ba?
yes,
something like that.
feasible lang imong
Yes,
product.
feasible siya because nadiri you have to find and win a place for the offering in the marketplace and in consumers' minds
Yes.
by providing unique solutions to problems. So this one is applicable to the services, no, the solutions to problems. Yes, on of course cravings nila kung food magani imong product or needs that aren't already being addressed by competing products. Yes, so
consider gani mo ang mga competing products. Okay, location also is very important for the business where products are introduced and sold to the customers. But positioning of the product does not limit to where it is sold, but also instilling the product to the minds and hearts of the consumer. Muna pinaka-importante. That's how the products positioned in the market or the hearts and minds of the consumers.
yes.
Okay.
So of course no in positioning the product or service you have to see to it that it caters, no,
Yes, of
the
course.
needs of your prospect consumers against the competing products.
That's it.
Next
so
step.
another step, learners, we have the write the brand definition. So what is this all about? The brand definition describes what is to be offered. Okay, na diha i-define nimo unsa nga product, unsa nga services or business ba kaha. So it is offered how the offering is different and better. So lahi siya o mas maayo siya, and what unique benefits the customers can count on, and what promise or set of promises will make all who work with and buy from the business. Okay.
Yeah, so in writing the brand definition, no,
Yes.
so you have it tells no all about the product benefits, no, the uniqueness and
Oh.
characteristics of the product. So for example, we have the soap,
Oh,
no.
sabon.
So sa sabon, no, naa day gibutang diha nga kills 99.99% of bacteria.
That's an example of a definition, part of the definition nga gi-promise nimo sa imong mga consumers,
Yes.
diba?
Mm.
Kuno baga na siya promise nga 99.99% of bacteria mamatay siya, makills nga.
So mo na siya imuhang kanang ikapakita, no,
Oh,
sa imuhang mga consumer nga I can do that
yes.
through my product. Oh.
Yes.
So
Okay,
diha pandaan imuhang iinganyo, no, ang mga
Convincing.
yes.
Convincing
So
the
okay,
consumers.
so the next step, no, so this is very important, no. You have to develop the name, the logo, and the tagline.
So,
Yes,
nabot
mo
na
na
sa
gid ni.
step nga pwede na ta makadevelop.
Makadevelop na din ta. So after those steps, no, katong before adto katong do the research, I mean decide, no, unsa imuhang i-brand, no, and then you're going to research then ang location, the position, oh yes, and then writing the brand definition, and then now we've come to developing, no, the name, logo, and the tagline. So here first is the name. So the name is the key that unlocks the brand image in the consumer's mind. So
name.
kung walay name, sa pagpicture na siya, kung walay name, dili gid na ma-identify dayon sa
Kasi owner, no?
yes,
Baga,
kung unsay name ana nga company, unsay mga products nga gina-offer mo through your name.
Yes.
Sa imong brand name rather.
So that's for the name.
Yes.
How
And
about the logo?
of course, the logo is the brand mark or symbol that serves as the face of the brand.
Okay.
So kung makita sila ana nga symbol,
Logo.
ay katuman logo ay katuman ning kuan. Yes.
Kung sa mga klase nga product.
Sawat pagid og naay name, no?
Yes.
Kay diha man makanan sa mga consumers nga kanila mi ni siya kay si ko kayo ning ana
Durability
or
siya, quality ni siya.
quality ang
Oh.
gina-offer ani because of this one na mga recommendation, no?
Yes, of course. And we have this one, a tagline or something to do with slogan. Okay.
Yes.
Tagline or slogan is the memorable phrase that provides consumers with a quick indication of the product, brand, and market position. So, muna pinakanindot mo ra siya og nindot ka siya paminaw ng mga tagline. So, another example,
Yes.
the learners, tanawa sa inyong slides. So, we have Metrobank. Metrobank. The name is the Metrobank. So, what is the tagline? You're in good hands. Okay?
Yes.
You're in good hands. Kumbaga, this is a promise from the bank for the security of all transactions and services they offer to the client. Muna siya
Yes.
example. Daghan kayo tanang mga businesses or
Naagay
mga
mga tagline.
yes, mga pros na yung mga tagline, no?
Same sa kanang video, no?
Oh,
Nasa
video.
like we find ways. Oh,
Kumbaga,
so
sa mga
so
bangko.
it means that they
Pangitaon
promised
sa
that
ano?
kung unsay maginaon sa pagitaan nila paagi ang
Yes.
mas-serve nila ang ilang best to the
Of
customers.
course.
And of course naapoy kung nako no if ever
So,
ah,
another example, sir.
sa
Slogan.
naay ka ng decisive solution. So so it means that gi promise na, no, that is a services na siya, services. So
Sa na makita nga business, no?
makita na niya dili pud ko angay mo istorya di ani kay dili man
Okay,
ko ang
that's
good.
it.
Pero mo siya mga example of
slogan or tagline.
yes.
That's
So here naapod no na isa sa CNN. no?
Yes.
So that
Familiar mas mo sa CNN, no?
yes, familiar na sila. So
CNN.
sa ang tagline sa CNN is be the first thing to know. Oh, so meaning ang ilang yan is ikaw nga mutan-aw ani, ikaw gud mo ay first nga makabalo sa ilahang first hand sa information nga ilahang i-report, no?
Okay, yes.
So it says about the services they offered to their viewers, the latest and updated yun sila. Yes.
That's for the example of the name, the logo nga gishon nila sa inyo hang as a slide, and we have also the tagline or unsa na siya, slogan.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so muna siya ang forma or sample for that. Another is in creating the name, logo, and tagline, you should consider its relationship, di ba? Relasyon sa tulo, di ba? Kay maglaylay siya, bulag-bulag, di po maayo. That they must be connected as to the ideas and the story that instilled to each.
Yes, na ako'y nahindo man na ani, dapat yun siya connected kay kung maglahi man gud ang, for example, ang name wala ning haning haumpod sa logo nga imong gikuanan, ang tagline po wala pud siya, it meaning ang customer pa lang ana or ang consumer magtanaw na ay dili di ba? So kinahanglan nga the color, the name, the logo, ang pag-asa tanan-tanan same ra gid siya. Og mahimo kanang simple ra. Dili na siya complicated nga dali ra mahinumduman sa customer. So that ang dili gid siya mawala ba nga okay kana.
Okay. More discussion when we return.
This is Astral Academy Cyber School.
The Department of Education, Division of Dangub City, in partnership with the local government unit of Dangub, presents Ang Tangkub, Transforming Advancement in the New Normal, guiding K-12 learners under broadcast media and instructional program, crafted in response to the need of making education possible and accessible to students at the comfort of their homes. It covers the most essential competencies, thematically layered in drama plays, which were originally written, directed, and performed by teachers to see to it that education is securely provided. This is Ang Tangkub.
Tayo na buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo na tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na.
We are back still here in Astral Academy
Cyber School. Okay, so let's move forward no sa ato ang next nga step.
Yes.
Yes. So ang next step is launch the brand, no?
Okay.
So here no the brand goes public no when the name, logo and slogan is unveiled, no?
Yes.
And when it begins to tell the market the story of how the brand no
Yes.
reflects what stands for. So when yung
That's-
launching na dayon.
that's the next step. And
If ever
na-develop
kung
naman
na
to.
okay na no na
ang
okay na ang name, na okay na ang logo and
Yes,
then the slogan.
the slogan.
Yes.
Importante, ang pinaka-important is the name, di ba? Ang the name.
Mhm.
Another step is manage and leverage and protect the brand. Okay, so this time, this is the care and feeding, kumbaga, phase of the branding process, and it's the step that leads to a strong, healthy, resilient brand. Okay, just like good parenting, kumbaga, kung good parenting
Yes.
are going to take care of your, kumbaga, kinatinibukan or family, baka ha. Good branding management can be summed up in a single word, kumbaga, consistency. Naagi consistency
Yes,
dapat.
consistency.
Okay.
Mga siya
So
pinaka-importante.
to get your product be patented to protect from imitation.
Yes. Wag na siya. Learners no you have to remember that one that if ever no magpuhon-puhon no makakuan mag-business good sila.
Yes, of
Kinahanglan nga after they've kana bitong develop
course.
a name and then
Just like
tanan okay na. So kinahanglan gyud nga ilagay nang ipa-patent nila para maprotektahan
Yes,
sila if
of
ever
course.
na ay musuon.
Pa-register pa na nila ang ilang product name or ilang product name dito sa DTI, Department
Yes,
of Trade and
kay
Industry.
if ever man good nga
Sino
na ay kaparehas
Oo.
or kung instead unta ikaw may nakauna
Yes.
then na ay nakasuon na ay nakatan-aw then pagahuman
Para secure pa tayo mo
naguna-una
ang
sila dayon og patent so it means that ikaw may dihado
Oo,
where in
kumbaga,
fact ikaw unta mo
ikaw
ay first kung ta nakanahuna ana ngay
Yes.
mo gid ang gihaguan gibilala gid mo nag
That's it.
kanang una tanan.
Alright.
Okay? The
So,
next
another is
we have to realign, no?
okay.
Realign the brand to keep it current. Okay, so it can, of course, no. So occasionally, it can and should change how the brand is presented from time to time. So there is a need to update the brand presentation,
Okay.
and then or the face of the brand, no.
You're talking about the,
So,
kumbaga, kung product siya, yung baka packaging baka ha?
Packaging, yes,
yung picture.
to keep it relevant to the market in which it lives. So
Alright.
so of course namo kita daghan sa for how many years no nga kana sa mga ubang mga product nga atong
Kumbaga,
ginapalit. Tingata after 2 years or after 1 year gani na otro na ang packaging, na otro na ang
tagline, ang uban nag-change po sila.
change
Kani-
pod og tagline
Yes.
na ang mga logo nag-change pod ng color and everything get-change pod nila kay based sa unsay kanang trend. Yes, unsay
latest
uso
nga trend.
karong kuana because
That's it.
nag-innovate pod sila ba.
That's it. Okay, that's a very important innovation. Kaya we have a strong branding, makes strong appeal to the market, but time changes. So from time to time, the same as people, di ba ang people way of living kay mag-change man ang mga styles nato, ang atong
Yes.
fashions and everything. So it is desirable for the company to keep the brand updated with the current trend. So it
Yes.
needs to revisit the market of how brand stands for.
Okay, so again, the steps on developing a brand name are first,
Yes.
step 1,
You have to
decide what is going to be the brand.
Okay.
And then second one, do the research.
All right.
The third one, position the product or the service. So kung
Okay.
ang ihang location.
Mm.
And then the fourth one is write
Alright,
the definition.
of the product.
product. Yes. And
Alright.
then the fifth one there is develop the name, the logo, and the tagline. And then
Okay. After
the
that, we have
sixth
the
step, no, launch
the
the brand dayon.
it.
And then the seventh step, manage, leverage, and protect the brand. And then the last one is realign the brand to keep it current. So it means
That's
dili siya maulahi. So those are the 8 steps, no,
Steps in
in developing a brand or the
name.
branding. Okay.
So, not,
All right.
those are the
Yes.
steps in developing a brand name. So, learners, at this time, let's continue in our activity. That is, you are to develop a brand name of your product or services of your business, of your
Yes.
own business nga na inyong plano sa pagkakaroon.
Yes.
Okay.
So, that would be all for today. Thank you so much to our learners and all the viewers, no? And we hope you enjoy the learning today.
Okay, so please take a look on our second senior high school attendance marker for today. So as shown at the top sa inyong screen. Okay, this has been a teacher Genevieve Pikit from Tangub City National High School.
And this is Jade Mark Abapo. See you next week. Stay safe and God bless everyone.
This is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
The Department of Education, Division of Tangub City, in partnership with the local government unit of Tangub, presents Ang Tangkub, transforming advancement in the new normal, guiding K-12 learners under broadcast media, crafted in response to the need of making education possible and accessible to students at the comfort of their homes. It covers the most essential competencies thematically layered in drama plays, which were originally written, directed, and performed by teachers to see to it that education is securely provided. This is Ang Tangkub.
It's Tangkub, Tangkub, Tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tangkub time.
How are you, dear learners? We hope that everything is fine. Today, let us have a game. All you have to do is to guess the words written in the balls of letters by rearranging them to create a meaningful word. Use the given description as your clue. Are you excited? Hope you are. Let's get started. It is a conclusion or opinion that is formed because of known facts or evidence. That's right. The answer is inference.
Item number 2. Words of a piece of writing or speech. You're right. The answer is text.
Number 3. Something which shows that something else is true. The correct answer is evidence.
Item number 4. To repeat something written or said by another person exactly. The correct answer is quotes.
The 5th item is an information and educational context a learner already has before they learn new information. The correct answer is prior knowledge.
For the last item, to quote by way of example, authority, or proof. Correct. The answer is cite. Congratulations, learners! For sure, you got a perfect score. So, the answers are inference, text, evidence, prior knowledge, and cite. You will know more the meaning of these words that you have come across as we go on with our lesson.
That's right. You are now ready to learn another meaningful lesson, and that is how to cite an evidence to support a general statement. Let's keep going.
When we make claims, we provide our statement with facts and research in order to communicate a strong argument. When we have ideas about what we read, we need to cite text in order to support our claims. So, what is text evidence?
Text evidence uses specific examples and ideas from a text to help support and further define your own claims and ideas. Text evidence gives your words validity and strength. On the other hand, general statement is a claim that needs to be proven, presents the topic of a paragraph, essay, or book, and a general statement usually expresses the main point or main idea of a piece of writing. Let us have an example. The rainforest is home to many creatures. Monkeys, birds, reptiles, amphibians, and mammals live in the rainforests. Butterflies and anteaters also live in the forests. Now, can you tell me what is the general statement of the passage? That's right. The rainforest is a home to many creatures. The general statement expresses the main idea of the paragraph, and this claim needs to be proven. So, what is the textual evidence that supports the claim of the general statement? That's right. Monkey, birds, amphibians, reptiles, and mammals live in the forest. This sentence is the text evidence that supports the claim of the general statement. It uses specific examples like monkeys, birds, and amphibians to make the claim of the general statement valid. Now that you already have an idea about the difference between a general statement and text evidence, let us learn more. There are actually important things to consider when citing textual evidences. Let us see what are these. Points to remember in citing text evidence. First, read and understand the text thoroughly. It is important to read the text thoroughly so that You may be able to identify not only the main idea of the text, but also the specific details to support the main idea. Number 2, identify the general statement of the main idea from the text you read. When you are able to identify the general statement of the main idea of the text, it would be easier for you to cite or search for the text evidence to support your claims. Third, go back to the text to find supporting statements to give your claims validity. Once the general statement is identified, that's the time to look for some specific details from the text that will support the general statement or idea. Number 4, add the quotes to your response. Finally, add the quotes of the author or use your own words to relay the idea of the author to support or explain your claim. Fifth, remember, not all ideas are obviously stated in the text. Sometimes we have to make an inference or conclusion. To do this, we use evidence from the text and our prior knowledge to understand the text better. This is so-called reading between the lines. Example, you are talking in the class while the class discussion is ongoing and suddenly your teacher makes a frowning face. Based from the text and your prior knowledge, it can be inferred that your teacher is angry with you is the general statement. And what evidence do we have in this claim? The evidence is you are talking in the class while the discussion is ongoing. Your teacher is trying to make a point in her discussion and suddenly she makes a frowning face. This is the text evidence through making inferences.
Here are a few examples of citing text evidence. Example number 1. Religious gatherings represent Filipinos' faithfulness to God. We may have different religions, but we commonly believe in one supreme being. Masses, processions, feast of saints, weddings, baptisms are Filipinos' best practices to celebrate life with God. From the text, the general statement is, religious gatherings represent Filipinos' faithfulness to God. Now, let us answer this question in order to identify the text evidence. What religious gathering activities represent Filipinos' faithfulness to God? Correct! It is masses, processions, feast of saints, weddings, baptisms are Filipinos' best practices to celebrate life with God. This line represents the text evidence. Let us have another example. Example number 2. I always dreamed to become a philanthropist, someone who dedicates oneself into helping others, someone who is capable of providing anything essential to others abundantly. In other words, I dreamed to become a wealthy person to be able to help and provide something for others, especially the poor ones. I am only 13 years old, but I have this desire to help many people. My young age frustrates me that I don't have the capacity to provide what others need. I don't come from a well-off family, by the way. It seems that I am hopeless to become what I want to be. In this case, the general statement is, I always dreamed to become a philanthropist. Why does the author dream of becoming a philanthropist? Here is the text evidence. I dreamed to become a wealthy person to be able to help and provide something for others, especially the poor ones.
Now that you already learned how to cite an evidence to support a general statement, get ready and answering your activity sheets. Directions. Read and understand each passage and answer the questions which focus on citing evidence to support a general statement. Choose the letter of the best answer. Before we end, always remember that you will sound more convincing if you will support your claims with evidences.
This demonstrates that you have fully researched your topic against any counterclaims. Evidences that support your claim would make any topic strong and believable.
Have a great time, learners. Always remember that the knowledge you get in English helps you become a global citizen capable of conquering the world. This has been Mama Halia
And Ma'am Pinky,
your English teachers, saying continue to love, care, and share. Still here in your one and only educational TV program, Ang Tangkub. Bye!
Hello, grade 7 learners! Welcome to another learning episode of Ang Tangkub TV-based instruction. I am Teacher James, your teacher in TLE Carpentry Exploratory course. For today's lesson, we will discuss the basic concept of measurement used in the world of carpentry. The two systems of measurements are the English and the metric system. The English system originated in England, which is also known as the U.S. customary unit of measurement, while the metric system was developed in France and is also known as the International Standard or SI. Part 1. Unit of measures, linear measurement. English, yard, foot, inch. Metric, meter, decimeter, centimeter, millimeter. Reading of measurements. Reading the inch. The inch is divided into segments called graduations. Each graduation represents a measurement in form of a proper fraction. The inch can be divided into 16, 8, 4, and 2 equal parts. Note, the illustration is not the actual length of an inch. Reading the centimeter and millimeter. 1 centimeter is equivalent to 10 millimeter. Converting units of measure. Here is a guide table in unit conversion. From English to English, 1 foot is equivalent to 12 inches. From metric to metric, 1 meter is equivalent to 10 decimeters. 1 decimeter is equivalent to 10 centimeters. English to metric. 1 inch is equivalent to 2.54 centimeters. 1 inch is equivalent to 25.4 millimeters. 1 foot is equal to 30.48 centimeters. Metric to English. 1 meter is equivalent to 3.28 feet. 1 meter is equivalent to 39.37 inches. Sample solutions in conversion. A. Foot to inches. 3 feet is equivalent to how many inches? The solution is, since 1 foot is equivalent to 12 inches, multiply 3 feet by 12 inches. The answer is, 3 feet is equivalent to 36 inches. B. Inch to feet. 48 inches is equivalent to how many feet? Solution. Divide 48 inches by 12 inches. The answer is 48 inches is equivalent to 4 feet. C. Centimeter to millimeters. 22 centimeters is equivalent to how many millimeters? Solution. Multiply 22 centimeters by 10 millimeters. The answer is 22 centimeters is equivalent to 220 millimeters. D. Inch to centimeter. 6 inches is equivalent to how many centimeters? Solution. Multiply 6 inches by 2.54 centimeter, and the answer is 6 inches is equivalent to 15.24 centimeters. There you have it, learners. Those are the basic concept of measurement used in carpentry. At this point, let us try to check your understanding from today's lesson. Please get your activity sheet in TLE Carpentry Exploratory course and answer the given questions. Before we end, always remember, 1 accurate measurement is worth 1,000 of expert opinions. This has been Teacher James saying continue learning and hashtag Shine Tanggub Stars.
Hi grade 8 learners, are you now ready for another blast of meaningful lesson to learn? Alright, let us begin by identifying the word we are looking for. Surely, you're familiar with 4 pics, 1 word. Do study the set of pictures. You're given 10 seconds to give the right answer.
Now, do you already have an answer? Remember to use the clues like the letters revealed, such as C, H, and N. Alright, the correct answer is cohesion.
Today, we will be learning how to use appropriate cohesive devices in various types of speech. To get started, let us be guided by these terms and their definitions. Cohesive devices are words and phrases that connect ideas. Some people call them transition signals or discourse markers. Cohesion is how well parts of your texts, such as words, sentences, paragraphs, fit together. It is the way your text is linked together. There are actually 3 main types of cohesive devices. The first one, pronouns or reflexive pronouns. A simple cohesive device which refer to a previously mentioned noun. Example, he, she, it, they. Reflexive pronouns refer to a pronoun that was previously mentioned in a text. Example sentence, he introduced himself. Number 2, conjunctions. The most basic way to connect parts of text together. Examples, and, but, or, yet, and so. Example sentence, Netflix has many movies and shows, and its subscription is affordable. The third type of cohesive devices are adverbial conjunctions. A conjunctive adverb connects 2 independent clauses or sentences. Typically, adverbs modify other words, verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. Examples, accordingly, additionally, again, all in all, also, and anyway. Example sentence, the weather forecast predicts rain. Accordingly, I will bring my umbrella.
Now, let us have some exercise of identifying cohesive devices. Let us read the directions. Directions. From the excerpt of a farewell speech, pick out the cohesive devices that you can find and write them on a piece of paper. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I remember thinking that it would be hard to say goodbye, and I was right. It is hard. Yet, I consider myself fortunate to have met such a special person, a person that we care so much about, that it makes saying goodbye to him or her hard. As we say goodbye, we remind ourselves that farewells are not forever, nor are they the end. They are simply words to say that we will miss you dearly and that we will remember you fondly. Although we may be separated by time and distance in the interim, nothing will diminish important role that you have and always will play in our lives. And so it is, and always will be with you as we carry you always close to our hearts. May we road rise up to meet you. May the wind be ever at your back. And until we meet again, may God hold on you in the hollow of His hand. So, have you found all the cohesive devices in the excerpt? The cohesive devices are it, myself, him or her, they, that, and, yet, as, nor, although, so, always, and until. For you to have a thorough knowledge about this lesson, let us discuss one type of cohesive device and its use. Let us discuss one type of cohesive device and how it is used in the sentence. Let us start with the first type. That is, the cohesive device, which are pronouns or reflexive pronouns. Let us lift this sentence from the farewell speech. Yet, I consider myself fortunate to have met such a special person, a person that we care so much about, that it makes saying goodbye to him or her hard. Alright, in the given sentence, the cohesive device, specifically a reflexive pronoun myself, actually refer back to the first pronoun, which is I. Hence, it is able to connect ideas more smoothly. The next underlined cohesive device, which is the pronoun him or her, actually refers back to the noun person in the sentence.
This time, let us proceed with the second type of cohesive device, and that is the conjunction. Let us analyze a sentence from the excerpt. As we say goodbye, we remind ourselves that farewells are not forever, nor are they the end. Now, the conjunction in the sentence, specifically a coordinating conjunction, is nor. If you could still recall, nor is the third coordinating conjunction in the famous acronym Fun Boys. In this sentence, it is used to connect a second negative idea from the negative idea in the first clause. The first idea is, we remind ourselves that farewells are not forever. And the second idea is, nor are they the end. Let us proceed with analyzing the last type of cohesive device, and that is adverbial conjunction. Let us read this sentence still coming from the excerpt. Although we may be separated by time and distance in the interim, nothing will diminish the important role that you have and always will play in our lives. In here, let us recall the meaning of adverbial conjunction or conjunctive adverbs. A conjunctive adverb connects two independent clauses or sentences. In the given sentence, the two clauses joined by the conjunctive adverb, the first clause is, we may be separated by time and distance in the interim, and the second clause is, nothing will diminish the important role you have and will always play in our lives. Now, although a conjunctive adverb, which is also called an adverbial conjunction, brings together two complete thoughts like a conjunction, its function is not limited to that, because it also uses the second clause to modify the first clause just like an adverb.
Now that you have already learned that cohesive devices could be pronouns, reflexive pronouns, conjunctions, adverbial conjunctions, or conjunctive adverbs, you can use any of these when writing any type of speech.
This time, get your activity sheet in English and do what is expected of you. Activity number 1, directions. Read this excerpt from the speech of Acting Secretary of Foreign Affairs Enrique A. Manalo, then complete the table showing the different types of cohesive devices used in the speech. Activity number 2, directions. Read the statement below, then do the given task. Write your answer on a separate sheet of paper.
Writing cohesively is an important skill to master. Cohesion is how you link the sentences and ideas correctly for clarity and conciseness. In turn, a cohesive text will be easier to read and understand. Don't forget that the function of communication, whatever form it may take, oral or written, verbal or non-verbal, is a shared understanding.
Exactly. May you always make your readers or listeners understand your message. And the use of cohesive devices is a plus factor. Thank you for your time, grade 8 learners, and congratulations for finishing this lesson. Always remember that the knowledge you get in English helps you become a global citizen capable of conquering the world. This has been Mama Halia,
And Ma'am Pinky,
your English teacher, saying continue to love, care, and share, still here in your one and only educational TV program,
Ang Tangkub.
Goodbye!
Bye!
Hello grade 8 learners! Welcome to another learning episode of Ang Tangkub TV-based instruction. I am Teacher James, your teacher in TLE Computer Hardware Servicing Exploratory course. For today's lesson, we will explore the world of computer memory. Computer memory. Although memory is technically any form of electronic storage, it is used most often to identify fast, temporary forms of storage. If your computer's central processing unit or CPU had to constantly access the hard drive to retrieve every piece of data it needs, it would operate very slowly. When the information is kept on the memory, the CPU can access it much more quickly. Most forms of memory are intended to store data temporarily. The CPU accesses memory according to a distinct hierarchy, whether it comes from permanent storage or the hard drive, or input such as the keyboard. Most data goes to the random access memory first, or the RAM. The CPU then stores pieces of data it will need to access, often in a cache, and maintains certain special instructions in the register. Read-only memory or ROM chips are located in the motherboard. ROM chips contain instructions that can be directly accessed by the CPU. Basic instructions for booting the computer and loading the operating system are stored in ROM. ROM chips retain their contents even when the computer is powered down. The contents cannot be erased or changed by normal means. Random access memory or RAM is the temporary storage for data and programs that are being accessed by the CPU. RAM is a volatile memory, which means that the contents are erased when the computer is powered off. The more RAM in a computer, the more capacity the computer has to hold and process large programs and files, as well as enhance system performance. Storage drives. Storage drives read or write information on magnetic or optical storage media. The drive can be used to store data permanently or to retrieve information from a media disk. Storage drives can be installed inside the computer case, such as a hard drive. For portability, some storage drives can connect to the computer using a USB port, a FireWire port, or an SCSI port. These portable storage drives are sometimes referred to as removable drives and can be used on multiple computers. Hard drive. A hard drive or hard disk drive is a magnetic storage device that is installed inside the computer. The hard drive is used as permanent storage for data. In a Windows computer, the hard drive is usually configured as the C drive and contains the operating system and applications. The hard drive is often configured as the first drive in the boot sequence. The storage capacity of a hard drive is measured in billions of bytes or gigabytes or GB. The speed of a hard drive is measured in revolutions per minute or RPM. Multiple hard drives can be added to increase storage capacity. Optical drive. An optical drive is a storage device that uses lasers to read data on the optical media. There are three types of optical drives: the compact disc or CD, digital versatile disc or DVD, and Blu-ray disc or BD. External flash drive. An external flash drive, also known as a thumb drive, is a removable storage device that connects to a USB port. An external flash drive uses the same type of non-volatile memory chips as solid-state drives and does not require power to maintain the data. These drives can be accessed by the operating system in the same way that other types of drives are accessed. There you have it, learners. Those are the things you need to bear in mind when it comes to computer memory. At this point, let us try to check your understanding from today's lesson. Please get your activity sheet in TLE Computer Hardware Servicing Exploratory course and answer the given questions. Before we end, always remember, memories are timeless treasures of the heart. This has been Teacher James saying continue learning and hashtag shine Tanggub Stars.
Hello, Mamahal.
Hello, Minky.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Assuming that you are at the shopping mall with your best friend and you go to your favorite store. Then, your best friend picks up a really cool shirt and quickly stuffs it in her bag. And she says that she is always doing that, but she had never gotten caught. What will you do?
Well, I will stop her and tell her that shoplifting is actually a crime. I will tell her that she may not get caught or have been caught yet, but if she will be caught, then complications will happen. She might get imprisoned, and that will cause a bad reputation, not just for her, but for her family as well. And as a friend, I will not let that happen.
Wow, what a nice answer. Another question. What if you had known a classmate of yours in your class who cheated on the third periodical exam? He got an almost perfect score, while you get a failing score. What will you do?
Well, as a friend, I will ask him why he did it. And I will listen to him and give him a piece of advice that cheating, for it has a negative impact on him, and it is not justifiable that he may pass but have not learned at all in the lesson. On the other hand, if he will be caught, that means he will be embarrassed or be humiliated.
Amazing! You are now ready to join a beauty contest and face the Q&A portion.
I think I already know the lesson, and it is about sharing one's personal opinion.
You get it right, Mamahal. Today, we will learn how to share personal opinion about the ideas listened to.
This topic will allow you to broaden your knowledge about any information you have listened to and be able to share your perspective and thoughts about it through different forms of communication.
In addition, this will develop our critical thinking skills.
This time, let us get ourselves acquainted with the guiding principles for effective listening. First, stop talking. Remember, you cannot listen as you are speaking. Number 2, pay attention. Give your full attention to the speaker. You cannot communicate if both parties are not actively involved in the process. Number 3, read nonverbal cues. Along with hearing and processing the words of the speaker, you should pay careful attention to the nonverbal language being communicated. Watch your eye contact, facial expressions, gestures, posture, changes, and any physical response, for example, fidgeting. Number 4, ask questions. A good way to ensure that you have accurately understood the message is to ask questions. Number 5, resist distraction. Stop doodling. Do not shuffle papers, draw, or doodle when you are listening. Number 6, don't interrupt. Even though you may get angry or upset by something the speaker says, do not interrupt. Let the speaker finish and resist the temptation to focus on your emotional response to the speaker's words. 7. Open your mind. Try to look at the situation from the speaker's point of view and not just your own. Be flexible. And number 8, or lastly, paraphrase. Use your own words to mirror what you have heard. Restating information in your own words helps you to remember what you have heard. Now that you know the guiding principles for effective listening, please listen to the song Perfect by Simple Plan and share your point of view by answering the process questions that follow. Process questions. Number 1. What is the message of the song? Number 2, what do you do when your parents don't support your plan? Number 3, how do you stop thinking you're not good enough? Lastly, take a stand on a statement, we will never know the love of our parents till we become parents ourselves. Enjoy listening and take your time, learners.
Dad, look at me. Think back and talk to me. Did I grow up according to plan? And do you think I'm wasting my time doing things I wanna do? But it hurts when you disapprove all along. And now I try hard to make it. I just wanna make you proud. I'm never gonna be good enough for you. Can't pretend that I'm alright. And you can't change me, 'cause we lost it all. Nothing lasts forever. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect. Now it's just too late, and we can't go back. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect. I try not to think about the pain I feel inside. Did you know you used to be my hero? All the days you spent with me now seem so far away, and it feels like you don't care anymore. And now I try hard to make it. I just wanna make you proud. I'm never gonna be good enough for you. I can't stand another fight. And nothing's alright, 'cause we lost it all. And nothing lasts forever. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect. Now it's just too late, and we can't go back. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect. Nothing's gonna change the things that you said, and nothing's gonna make this right again. Please don't turn your back. I can't believe it's hard just to talk to you, but you don't understand. Cause we lost it all, and nothing lasts forever. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect. Now it's just too late, and we can't go back. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect. Cause we lost it all, and nothing lasts forever. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect. Now it's just too late, and we can't go back. I'm sorry, I can't be perfect.
Now, let us answer the questions one by one. Perhaps some of these responses are similar to the ones you scribbled down on your notes. For the first question is, what is the message of the song? Perfect is a song by a Canadian rock band, Simple Plan. This song is about a child telling his or her parents that he or she is not born perfect and can never be perfect in life. On the other hand, it also tells that his or her parents did not support any of his or her plans. But despite their refusal to support him or her, he or she uses the song to tell them that he or she may not be perfect and can never be, and that he or she is sorry for being unable to become perfect for them. The second question is, what do you do when your parents don't support your plan? First is, you need to try to understand why. Parents, being older, have probably seen the problems that may come along with if you choose a negative path. Even though our parents may seem annoying, they actually come from a good place, with good reason to object and make us re-examine our choices. For the third question, what is your stand on the statement, we will never know the love of our parents till we become parents ourselves? The answer is, parents know best for their children and they may be misinterpreted until their children will become parents themselves. It's only when we become parents that we understand their discipline and protection.
Let us have more exercises. Listen carefully to the questions that require your response in a complete sentence. You may assess the responses you made based on the given rubric. Here are the questions. Question number 1. How will you react if your friend asks you to cover for a mistake he made? Question number 2. In what way were you taught good values by your parents? Question number 3. What would you do if you and your mother will have a disagreement? And the last question is, what would you do if you realize you won't be able to complete the performance task given by your teacher on time? Great job, learners! Surely, you have your respective responses. Yet, let us take a look at these following possible answers. Going back to question number 1, how will you react if your friend asks you to cover for a mistake he made? Here is the possible answer. It's nice to have a friend, but if he or she will commit a mistake and want me to cover for him or her, I won't do it, for I don't want to make another mistake. Question number 2. In what way were you taught good values by your parents? Possible answer. One of the good values that my parents taught me is to accept people's idea or be open-minded and respect another. Question number 3. What would you do if you and your mother will have a disagreement? The possible answer is, I will try to be polite in speaking my thoughts, but I will respect whatever it is that she has to say. Question number 4. What would you do if you realize you won't be able to complete the performance task given by your teacher on time? Possible answer is, if I would be unable to complete the performance task given by my teacher on time, I will tell her frankly and I ask for an extension of the said performance task, which I will surely finish. As they say, turning in a task late is better than turning nothing at all. So, how would you assess yourselves based from the given rubric? Are you excellent, competent, or needs work? Well, if you think you are excellent or competent, great job, learners. But if you think you need improvement, do not worry, learners. You surely have a lot to learn still. And as long as you won't stop, you will be able to improve so much.
Now that you have learned the skill of sharing personal opinion to the ideas listened to, it's time to answer your activity. Get your activity sheet to help us assess how much you have learned from this lesson.
We are at times defined based on the opinions we share. The power of expressing our thoughts brings new ideas and innovation to improve our lives. Yet, let us be truthful in expressing ourselves so that others would understand what we believed in and what we are. Taking a stand on a particular issue allows us to understand ourselves and improve our self-confidence.
Have a great time, learners. Always remember that the knowledge you get in English helps you become a global citizen capable of conquering the world. This has been Ma'am Mahalia
And Ma'am Pinky,
your English teacher, saying continue to love, care, and share. Still here in your one and only educational TV program,
Ang Tangkub.
Goodbye!
Bye!
Hello grade 9 learners! Welcome to another learning episode of Ang Tangkub TV-based instruction. I am Teacher James, your teacher in TLE Bread and Pastry Production 9. For today's lesson, we will discuss the basic steps in baking. Basic steps in baking. Read the recipe carefully to know if you have all the ingredients and the utensils needed and if you understand the entire procedure. Check all the necessary ingredients, gather and arrange them according to the sequence of their preparation. Prepare all the utensils needed for measuring, mixing, and baking. Preheat the oven. Set the oven knob at the desired temperature. Prepare the pan or pans needed. Make sure to use the correct pan size. If it needs greasing, brush the pan bottom with a little shortening. For baking purposes, don't use butter or margarine for greasing because these easily burn and will produce a very brown crust. Measure the ingredients using correct utensils according to the amounts required in the recipe. Mix the batter or dough when filling pans. Make sure you don't overfill. Fill about 2/3 full to give an allowance for the rising. Bake in the preheated oven. Put the pan at the center rack. Test for doneness. For butter cakes, prick the center of the cake with a toothpick. If it comes out clean, then it is done. For chiffon and sponge cakes, press lightly with fingers. If it springs back, then it is done. Pies and pastries are done when the crust have turned golden brown, crisp, and flaky. Cool the baked products. For butter cakes, put the pan on a wire rack and leave to cool for 10 minutes. Afterwards, invert pan to remove the cake and cool it completely. For sponge and chiffon cakes, invert pan at once in wire racks. Then, decorate. There you have it, learners. Those are the basic steps in baking. At this point, let us try to check your understanding from today's lesson. Please get your activity sheet in TLE Bread and Pastry Production 9 and answer the given questions. Before we end, always remember that according to the former President of the United States of America, Barack Obama, there is no excuse for not trying. This has been Teacher James saying continue learning and hashtag Shine Tangub Stars.
Ma'am Pink, do you believe that a grain of corn can actually grow as big as this hen's egg?
Huh? What kind of technology was used in that kind of corn? Is that part of that what they called a genetically modified organism?
We will know the answer to that question in a little while. What's up, grade 10 learners? It's another wonderful episode to learn another meaningful lesson in English. Still here in your one and only educational TV program, Ang Tangkub, where you learn new things the fun and easy way possible.
Last meeting, we learned how to critique a literary selection using the Marxist approach. This time, we will learn another approach in critiquing a literary piece, which is the formalist approach.
Let us first define formalist criticism. What is formalist criticism? Formalist criticism is defined as a literary criticism approach which provides readers with a way to understand and enjoy a work for its own inherent value as a piece of literary art. Formalist critics spend a great deal of time analyzing irony, paradox, imagery, and metaphor. They're also interested in a work's setting, characters, symbols, and point of view.
Broadly, it is concerned exclusively with the text, in isolation from the world, author, or reader.
These are some of the questions that a formalist critic would ask. First question, how is the work structure unified?
Next, how do various elements of the work reinforce its meaning?
What recurring patterns, repeated or related words, images, etc. can you find? What is the effect of these patterns or motives?
Fourth question, how does repetition reinforce the theme or themes?
Fifth question, how does the writer's diction reveal or reflect the work's meaning?
Next, what is the effect of the plot and what parts specifically produce that effect?
Furthermore, it also asks the question, what figures of speech are used? Metaphors, simile, etc.
The eighth one, note the writer's use of paradox, irony, symbol, plot, characterization, and style of narration. What effects are produced? Do any of these relate to one another or to the theme?
Next, is there a relationship between the beginning and the end of the story?
What tone and mood are created at various parts of the work?
And you can also ask, how does the author create tone and mood? What relationship is there between tone and mood and the effect of the story?
Lastly, how do the various elements interact to create a unified whole? Now, let us analyze the story entitled A Grain as Big as a Hen's Egg, written by a great and award-winning author, Leo Tolstoy.
But before we do that, let us read first the story. A Grain as Big as a Hen's Egg by Leo Tolstoy. One day, some children found in a ravine a thing shaped like a grain of corn with a groove down the middle, but as large as a hen's egg. A traveler passing by saw the thing, bought it from the children for a penny, and taking it to town, sold it to the king as a curiosity. The king called together his wise men and told them to find out what the thing was. The wise men pondered and could not make head or tail of it. Till one day, when the thing was lying on a windowsill, a hen flew in and pecked at it till she made a hole in it. And then everyone saw that it was a grain of corn. The wise men went to the king and said, "It is a grain of corn." At this, the king was much surprised, and he ordered the learned men to find out when and where such corn had grown. The learned men pondered again and searched in their books, but could find nothing about it. So they returned to the king and said, "We can give you no answer. There is nothing about it in our books. You will have to ask the peasants. Perhaps some of them may have heard from their fathers when and where grain grew such a size." So the king gave orders that some very old peasants should be brought before him, and his servants found such a man and brought him to the king. Old and bent, ashy pale and toothless, he managed, with the help of 2 crutches, to totter into the king's presence. The king showed him the grain, but the old man could hardly see it. He took it, however, and felt it with his hands. The king questioned him, saying, "Can you tell us, old man, where such a grain as this grew? Have you ever bought such corn or sown such in your fields?" The old man was so deaf that he could hardly hear what the king said, and only understood with great difficulty. "No," he answered at last. "I never sowed nor reaped any like it in my fields, nor did I ever buy any such. When we bought corn, the grains were always as small as they are now. But you might ask my father. He may have heard where such grain grew." So the king sent for the old man's father, and he was found and brought before the king. He came walking with 1 crutch. The king showed him the grain, and the old peasant, who was still able to see, took a good look at it. And the king asked him, "Can you not tell us, old man, where corn like this used to grow? Have you ever bought any like it or sown any in your fields?" Though the old man was rather hard of hearing, he still heard better than his son had done. "No," he said, "I never sowed nor reaped any grain like this in my field. As to buying, I never bought any, for in my time money was not yet in use. Everyone grew his own corn, and when there was any need, we shared with one another. I do not know where corn like this grew. Ours was larger and yielded more flour than present-day grain, but I never saw any like this. I have, however, heard my father say that in his time the grain grew larger and yielded more flour than ours. You had better ask him." So the king sent for this old man's father, and they found him too, and brought him before the king. He entered walking easily and without crutches. His eye was clear, his hearing good, and he spoke distinctly. The king showed him the grain, and the old grandfather looked at it and turned it about in his head. "It is long since I saw such a fine grain," said he, and he bit a piece off and tasted it. "It's the very same kind," he added. "Tell me, grandfather," said the king, "when and where was such corn grown? Have you ever bought any like it or sown any in your fields?" And the old man replied, "Corn like this used to grow everywhere in my time. I lived on corn like this in my young days, and fed others on it. It was grain like this that we used to sow and reap and thrash." And the king asked, "Tell me, grandfather, did you buy it anywhere, or did you grow it yourself?" The old man smiled. "In my time," he answered, "no one ever thought of such a sin as buying or selling bread, and we knew nothing of money. Each man had corn enough of his own." "Then tell me, grandfather," asked the king, "where was your field? Where did you grow corn like this?" And the grandfather answered, "My field was God's earth. Wherever I plowed, there was my field. Land was free. It was a thing no man called his own. Labor was the only thing men called their own." "Answer me 2 more questions," said the king. "The first is, why did the earth bear such grain then, and has ceased to do so now? And the second is, why your grandson walks with 2 crutches, your son with 1, and you yourself with none? Your eyes are bright, your teeth sound, and your speech clear and pleasant to the ear. How have these things come about?" And the old man answered, "These things are so because men have ceased to live by their own labor, and have taken to depending on the labor of others. In the old time, men lived according to God's law. They had what was their own and coveted not what others had produced.
Now, let us look the novel using the critical eyes of a formalist critic and answer the following questions. Number 1. What recurring patterns, repeated or related words, images, and etc. can you find? What is the effect of these patterns or motifs? Second question. How does repetition reinforce the theme? Third question. What literary devices are used in the story? Let us first get the gist by looking at the story's important events. For the exposition, one day, some children found in a ravine a thing shaped like a grain of corn with a groove down the middle, but as large as a hen's egg. Rising action. The king gets the corn. The king then asks his wise men around. For the climax, finally, they called the grandfather of the first old peasant who had no crutches, can see clearly and speak clearly, unlike the first two oldies who were cold. The king didn't expect the answers he would get. And for the following action, the old man answered to the king's question. These things are so because men have ceased to live by their own labor and have taken on depending on the labor of others. In the old time, men lived according to God's law. They had what was their own and coveted not what others had produced. Now, let us answer the first question. What recurring patterns or repeated or related words, images, etc. can you find? What is the effect of these patterns or motifs? What has been repeated thrice in the story is the question of the king. The question is, can you tell us, old man, where such grain as this grew? Have you ever bought this corn or sown such in your fields? The effect of repetition is to clearly point out the concept of degeneration. Shockingly, the first peasant, who was the younger, was more fragile as depicted in the description. Old and bent, ashy pale, and toothless. He just managed with the help of the two crutches to totter into the king's presence. The second peasant, who is the father of the first peasant, is a way better in terms of physical well-being as described in this line. The peasant's father was different from his son. He walked with one crutch and he hears and see better compared to his son. He was still able to see and hear better compared to his son did. The third peasant, as the grandfather of the first peasant, is the healthiest as described in this line. He entered walking easily without crutches. His eye was clear, his hearing good, and he spoke distinctly.
Now, let us proceed with the second question. How does the repetition reinforce the theme? The theme is reinforced by the use of repetition since it emphasizes the theme, which is degeneration. And it also discusses what caused it. This is also the entire moral of the story. The theme of the story has something to do with contentment. We were told that according to the earlier times, people lived according to God's law. They labored for what they ate and coveted not what others had produced. Hence, they yielded good quality produce, ate what was their own, and lived healthier lives. However, with the passage of time, money was introduced. People started depending on others and started to become greedy. This resulted to poor quality of produce and their health deteriorated. A grain as big as a hen's egg talks about coveting, sin, and money. A grain as big as a hen's egg makes a point by saying that men and women have degenerated into quite arrogant and lazy society, which eventually has sadly become the norm. Now, let us proceed with answering the third question. What literary devices are used in the story? Some literary devices used in the story is symbolism, such that the questions of the king symbolizes power. The story also uses satire and surprise ending. The king did not actually expect the answer of the third peasant, which was the oldest, yet of good physical shape. It is seen when he replied, "These things are so because men have ceased to live according to their own labor, and have taken to depending on the labors of others. In the old time, men lived according to God's law. They had what was their own and coveted not what others had produced." Alright, so that is how you explicate a literary piece based on the formalist approach. Remember to look into the story itself by checking its elements, literary devices, and figures of speech.
Now that you have already the knowledge on how to critique a literary piece using the formalist approach, it is now your time to get your activity sheet in English and read the directions.
Directions. Read the story of Kish by Jack London on page 299 to 305 on your English textbook and critique it using the formalist approach.
Dear learners, we hope that you learned something from the literary piece we critiqued a while ago using the formalist approach. Keep the lesson you learned from the story of Tolstoy, A Grain as Big as a Hen's Egg, which tells us to value hard work and contentment.
Exactly, we should not take credit for something that we did not work for. Congratulations for finishing this lesson, grade 10 learners. Always remember that the knowledge you get in English helps you become a global citizen capable of conquering the world. This has been Ma'am Mahalia
And Ma'am Pinky,
your English teacher, saying continue to love, care, and share. Still here in your one and only educational TV program,
Ang Tangkub.
Goodbye!
Bye!
Hello, grade 10 learners! Welcome to another learning episode of Ang Tangkub TV-based instruction. I am Teacher James, your teacher in TLE Housekeeping 10. For today's lesson, we will identify the different cleaning tools used in housekeeping. Cleaning tools used in housekeeping. Dusters. Materials for dusters are made of soft cotton, flannel, or artificial feathers. Dusters are used for removing dust and for wiping various surfaces. Dustpans, used to collect dust and dirt with the help of a broom. Mops, useful tools in wiping dirt and dust from the floor. Mops comes in various sizes for specific purposes. Brooms. Brooms are used in sweeping dirt and dust from the floor and other areas that need cleaning. It may be made from man-made materials like plastic or from natural materials like the soft broom or walis tambo made from tiger grass and the stick broom or walis tingting made from spine of dried coconut leaves. Brushes. Brushes are designed with different sizes and shapes for specific cleaning purposes. After use, brushes should be washed with soap and dried in the sun to last longer. Types of brush. Toilet brush is used for cleaning bidets and toilet bowl. Sink brush is used for unclogging sinks. Scrub brush is used for cleaning sturdy dirt from floors and walls. Carpet hand brush is an alternative for vacuum in cleaning the carpet. Cane brush is a soft nylon brush used to prevent damage to cane surfaces. Soft hand brush goes with a dustpan and is used to collect dust. Wall brush is a soft brush with long handles to clean hard-to-reach walls. Feather brush is used to clean delicate surfaces like lampshades, televisions, and etc. Bucket or pail, used for holding water or detergent while cleaning. Garbage bins are available in plastic with lid to hold gathered garbage and trash while cleaning. Caddy basket, used to hold small tools and chemicals while cleaning. Squeegee, used to gather water while cleaning window glasses. There you have it, learners. Those are the different cleaning tools used in housekeeping. At this point, let us try to check your understanding from today's lesson. Please get your activity sheet in TLE Housekeeping 10 and answer the given questions. Before we end, always remember that according to Brian Herbert, the capacity to learn is a gift. The ability to learn is a skill. The willingness to learn is a choice. This has been Teacher James saying continue learning and hashtag Shine Tanggub Stars.
We hope that you have learned the most essential lessons you need to master. See you on our next episodes. This has been
We share.
Ang Tangkub.
It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo, tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo, tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo, tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fun, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkub, tangkub, tangkub time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkub. radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tangkop, tangkop time. Tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine, masaya. Tutok na. Tayo na. Let's come and learn
Good afternoon to all our junior high school learners who are watching via FB Live at Dapat Tayo Tanggub and Astral Academy. Welcome to Astral Academy Cyber School. I am Mama Halia from Santa Maria National High School.
And still, I am your Ma'am Pinky Del Castillo of Sumirap National High School.
And we are your
teacher
facilitators
this
today.
afternoon, rather. Okay, today, your learners, or their viewers, is March 31, 2022, Thursday. And since it's Thursday, today is English Day. So we will discuss our first lesson when we return. This is
Astral Academy Cyber School. And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School. And now, dear learners, flashed on top of your screen is our first attendance marker.
Yes, our first attendance marker. Take note of that, learners. And now, we are now on our first lesson. And hello there, our grade 7 learners, Mamahalia. I know that you are, or we know that you are very excited for our lesson this afternoon. So what is our competency for this afternoon? I think it can be seen above our slide. Yes, that's it. What is that, our competency, Mamahalia?
Okay, our competency for English 7 is actually to raise sensible, challenging, thought-provoking questions in public forums and panel discussions. So, specifically, dear learners, you should be able to define what panel discussion is and identify its members.
That's right, because you cannot raise sensible, challenging, thought-provoking questions without being able to define what is panel discussion and identify the members and its procedures.
Yes, that's correct. And also, you should be able to familiarize the procedures in a panel discussion.
Yes, I can't agree with you more, Mamahalia. Today, again, we will learn how to raise sensible, challenging, thought-provoking questions. And one way of enhancing this skill is through participating in a group discussion like panel discussion. This lesson would help you how to do it. But first, let us discuss one of the group discussions, which is panel discussion. For that reason, let us define first what panel discussion is, its members, and the procedures involved.
Okay, that's right. So, we hope learners that this topic is no longer new to you since before the pandemic happened. So, you might have heard or had the chance to conduct a panel discussion as part of your group activity in various subjects. And moreover, participating in a panel discussion requires our critical listening skill in order for you to understand the things being discussed and be able, of course, to participate productively.
That's right, Mamahalia. Listening attentively to a group discussion is very important, learners. Now that you are growing, much of your time is spent in some form of a group, whether a class, a friendship, a peer group, a family, or any organization. You need to include yourself on the topic that they are discussing, of course. You may ask sensible questions to make the discussion more meaningful. Asking sensible questions, learners, in any group discussion is encouraged so that there will be a lively discussion. So, listen carefully, learners, because you are expected to define what is panel discussion and its members and familiarize the procedures involved.
Okay, so exactly. So in your self-learning material, you are tasked to actually define the meaning of panel discussion, identify its members, and familiarize the procedures involved. So this time, let us define what is panel discussion. So a panel discussion is a small group discussion consists of 4 to 5 well-informed, take note of the term,
yes,
well-informed persons who sit at the table on a platform or stage before the group. A panel discussion in the classroom is a technique to teach students to work, to teach you, our dear students, to work as a group or collaboratively. It is also designed to improve skills in researching, logical organization of ideas, as well as your ability to present these thoughts that you have clearly and more effectively.
That's right. So thank you for that, Mama Halia. There are persons involved in a panel discussion. So we will know them again one by one. These are the members in a panel discussion with their respective roles. So the first one, learners, the moderator, of course. So who is the moderator? He or she is the leader who tries to make the flow of the proceedings or actions function as smoothly as possible. And he or she addresses the audience, announces the topic, and introduces the panel members. He or she also interprets statements made by the audience and resolves possible conflicts among or between the panel members and the audience.
All right, that's right. So we also have the panel members. So the panel members are the discussants, or could be the guest for the given topic, and they answer the question raised by the moderator.
Okay, so the third one is the audience. They are the viewers or the listeners. They may also raise questions to the panel members.
Okay, so now, Ma'am Pinky, to refresh their idea on
how to conduct a panel discussion in a classroom,
they need to follow procedures, of course, that have been used effectively.
That's right.
So the leader or moderator introduces the topic, and the panelists present their views and opinions regarding the issue. So it is expected that sometimes when we express our opinions, we have differing or varying opinions.
That's right. You are right, Mama Halia. And the second one, the panelists discuss the issue or topic and also react to other panel members' views and opinions. A specific amount of time should be set.
Okay, that's correct. So the leader, in turn, or the moderator, closes the discussion and provides a summary of the panel presentation and discussion.
Yes, and lastly, the leader or moderator calls for forum to all members of the class to address some questions, views, and opinions to the panelists, to give time to all the viewers to really express their opinions.
And of course, accordingly, in our debating, like, orientation, for example, we have different platforms on how to present, but it is very much important that we need to have respect, of course.
Yes.
Even if we have different opinions on a specific topic, it is very much important to express your thoughts in an organized, not just organized, you need to have
a friendly manner.
Yes,
friendly manner.
In discussions.
So, at this point, Mama Halia and our dear learners, let us take a look at these examples. Identify who is being referred to in the sentence and or on the following sentences. So this is what they are going to do with their self-learning material.
So this is not exactly what
the question
task,
or the statement.
Most likely, quite the same. All right, so he or she makes the flows of the proceeding.
Of course.
So what's your answer? Okay.
What's your answer, learner?
It's the moderator.
It's the letter C, or moderator. Okay, for number 2 or letter B, they answer the questions raised by the moderator.
Okay, the correct answer, of course, the panel members.
That's
so the panel
right.
members are the ones who need to, of course, discuss their stand and why they believe in such manner.
Okay, so in their SLM, they have 2 activities actually, Mama Halia. So for your activity 2, so you have to arrange the procedure in orderly manner and label the procedures from 1 to 4. Example, Mama Halia, we have this one. First, the leader or moderator calls for forum. Second, the leader or moderator provides a summary of panel presentation and discussion. Third, the panelists react to other panel members' views and opinions. And the fourth one, the panelists present their views and opinions regarding the issues. So what's the answer?
So let us try to analyze, Ma'am Pinky, how do we organize this thing? So if you could notice, dear learners, number 4, you were told that the panelists present their views and opinions, on or regarding an issue. So that could be your first one. So it is, they present.
Yes.
Next is the third one after presenting is that there would be reactions, of course. If there are presentations, there would be reactions. So
Yes.
3 would be the next to 4. So the panelists react to the panel members' views and opinions. And after giving a reaction, there would always be a moderator who would provide the summary of the panel presentation and the discussion. So that is number 2. And the last, of course, is that the leader or the moderator calls for the forum.
Forum.
So that is the
Okay.
order. It's 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's right. It's very
Okay.
easy. So now that you are already guided learners on how to accomplish your tasks, it is now your time to answer your activity.
Yes, activity number 1, the directions would be to read the following questions or the questions given on your SLM and encircle the letter of the correct answer.
Yes.
And for activity number 2, that is, there are following procedures of the panel discussion and you just need to arrange them because they are actually at random.
That's
So
right.
arrange the procedure in an orderly manner and label the procedures from 1 to 4.
Okay, good luck, learners.
Stay tuned because we will be right back still here at Astral Academy Cyber School.
This is the way we speak. This is the way we read. This is the way we write. This is the English way. This is the way we speak. This is the way we read. This is the way we write. This is the English way. Come and learn to speak and write of the language of the world. Learn to understand the language of the world. This is the way we speak. This is the way we read. This is the way we write. This is the English way. This is the way we write. This is the English way. Tayo, tayo na. Buksan ang mga radyo, lina at matuto sa mga aral sa mundo. Tayo, tayo na. Tumutok na sa TV, mag-aral ng maigi to get the lessons easily. It's
And we are back, learners, still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
All right, so hello there to all our
Hello,
English
hello.
8 learners. So your competency for this afternoon is actually to use parallel structures.
That's right. So when we say parallel, it is also called parallelism.
Yes.
It is the repetition of a chosen grammatical form within a sentence. By making each compared item or idea in your sentence follow the same grammatical pattern, you can create a parallel construction.
So learners, this is important not just in writing but also in speaking.
That's right.
So our discussion, for example, we have this sentence. This class discussion was engaging, informative, and should have been longer. So do you think this sentence follow a parallel structure? What do you think, Ma'am Pinks?
I think, Mama Halia and our learners, this sentence does not follow a parallel structure.
Yes,
and
that's
we will
correct.
explain to them the reason behind that.
Okay, that's correct. So the phrase to change in here, let us identify what could be the phrase or the word, for example, that should be changed in order to achieve parallel structure. Is it the word engaging,
Yes.
informative, or should have been longer?
So what do you think, learners?
The correct answer is?
Is of course the phrase should have been longer.
That's correct. So which among the following choices you're given actually on their SLM?
Yes.
They're actually given some choices to choose from, of course, which would best serve or replace the phrase identified in order to achieve parallel structure. Is it A, longer? Is it B, interesting? Is it C, of length? Or D, brief?
Okay.
Okay. So the correct answer is?
Of course, the correct answer is letter B. Why?
Okay, so
This is the word interesting. Why? It's because the words engaging and informative are all adjectives. So
that's
we
correct.
have to have this parallel structure. If we use the adjective form of the word, the first word and the second word to achieve parallelism, we will also use adjective to our
yes,
third
all
word.
throughout
Yes.
our description. So we use adjectives, so all adjectives all throughout. So our sentence would then be, our class discussion was engaging, informative, and interesting. Why did we say that it should be it is interesting? Because the phrase should have been longer connotes, or that means that of course the students actually, or whoever the speaker is, they actually understand or they like the discussion, so it is interesting.
Okay, so learners is a additional idea for you to be able to identify in what cases or in what do you call this situation you have to consider parallelism. Of course, one of the things that they have to bear in mind is you look for conjunctions like and.
Yes,
So if we
that's
are going to connect one, for example, one adjective and other adjective, meaning they are
Of
in
equal
equal importance. So they
that's
have to
correct.
achieve parallelism.
Or you could, because they're already previous words, for example, you need to identify if the first word is an adjective, the second is an adjective. So that means the third one, if it's not an adjective, that does not make a parallel structure. You need to change it to an adjective as well to suit to what we call parallel construction.
That's right. And remember, learners, that we will not only limit parallelism in using adjectives.
Yes.
Also, we can use that, we can apply that in using some other
Infinitives, for
words,
example,
yes.
participles,
Future one
and
and
many
others.
others. So if you are actually using clauses, for example, so dependent clauses, it should be like that all throughout. So if your phrase, for example, starts with a preposition, so you have prepositional phrases all throughout, then use it consistently. So
That's
the
right.
technique is to be consistent.
That's
So-
right. So in life, we need to be consistent also, Mamahalia.
Yes,
We
that's
need to be
correct.
consistent with our decisions, with our thoughts, so
Yes.
that others would also rely from
Yes.
us.
We
Okay.
become reliable if there is consistency
That's
in our
right.
actions. So,
Okay.
activity number 1, dear learners, get your SLM. It's there. So the directions would be to complete the exercises using parallel structure. So in the 4 sentences below, for instance, or in yes, Circle the correct word and phrases that gives the sentence the correct parallel structure. For example, you have there, Justin was excited about inviting friends over, eating a good meal, and, all right, is it A, game of cards? Is it B, to play cards?
Yes.
Or C, playing a game of cards? So if you notice, you have there the phrases inviting friends, eating a good meal. So they are all in ing form.
Yes.
So which one is the correct answer?
What do you think,
Certainly,
learners?
it is
Letter C, because we are all using, I think, gerunds.
Yes,
We are
phrases,
using
gerund
gerund phrases.
Okay.
Okay, so for letter B, is this activity 2, Mama Halia? I think
Yes,
this is
it
for your
is.
activity
Or
2.
Activity B.
Activity B in your
Alright.
SLM. In the
Yes.
sentences below or on your SLM, write a word or phrase in the blank that gives the sentence parallel structure. For example, the girl liked eating cookies better than blank at her grandmother's house.
Okay, so since you don't have an option for this, you need to actually add just
Yes.
anything, but make sure it is parallel with eating cookies.
And
Okay,
better
and
than.
better than.
So let's give them an example. Maybe
Okay.
better than
than.
eating biscuits. I think
Cookies
or
and
at eating
maybe cakes.
junk foods rather.
Alright,
Okay.
yes.
So the girl liked eating cookies better than eating junk foods at her grandmother's
Mother's house. Yes,
you can use
could
that
be.
one.
All right. Okay.
Okay, good luck,
So,
learners.
Yes.
So, Mama Halia and learners.
Stay tuned because we will be right back after a very short break. This is still Astral Academy Cyber School.
This is the way we speak. This is the way we read. This is the way we write. This is the English way. This is the way we speak. This is the way we read. This is the way we write. This is the English way. Come and learn to speak and write of the language of the world. Learn to understand the language of the world. This is the way we speak. This is the way we read. This is the way we write. This is the English way. This is the way we write. This is the English
And we are back still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
Okay, hello to our grade 9 learners, mamahalya. Please take note also, our learners are second or third attendance marker for this afternoon.
Yes, it's on top of your screen.
That's
Please copy
right.
that one. All right, so hello to our grade 9 learners. Thank you for being with us again. So today we are going to learn how to extract information from argumentative text.
That's right. So, mamahalya, there are many different types of texts that
Yes.
provide important information to the readers. Such information or details from a text provides more opportunities for us to learn faster and better. Critical listening or reading is used with argumentative text. It allows us to read more critically to get the logic or reasoning in a text.
Okay, that's right, Mom Pinky. So let us listen carefully, learners, because on your SLM, you are actually asked or tasked to read a text and extract important information from it. So to help you in accomplishing your task, let us define what an argumentative text is.
That's right. So since there are many types of text, let us define what is an argumentative text. It is a form of nonfiction, meaning nonfiction is not from the author, coming from the
Alright,
author's...
non-fiction, that means it is real,
Yes,
not imaginary,
that's
not
right.
fiction.
Not coming from the author's imagination.
Imagination.
This is a nonfiction form of writing that aims to convince the reader or for a certain point of view. So meaning the writer here is using convincing words for us to believe on what she is or he is writing.
Okay. Alright, so here, okay, this time let us read and extract some information from the given selection. So this is our selection. Why students should eat breakfast every day.
Okay, this is applicable for our learners because some of them or some of you are skipping breakfast, right?
Yes, that's correct. So this could be a topic for nutrition, food epistemology, and yes.
Okay.
So let us read. So a lot of people, especially young people, go through the day. So they go through the day without having breakfast. So many people believe that it is not necessary, or they say that they don't have time for that, and begin their day with no meal. So I believe that everyone should eat breakfast before going to their activities. So the purpose of this paper is to show the importance of breakfast, especially for students. So the first reason why you should eat breakfast before going to school is for your health. When you skip breakfast and go to school, you are looking for disease because it's not healthy to have an empty stomach all day long. It's very important to have a meal and not let your stomach work empty. All you are going to get is gastritis and a lot of problems with your health if you don't eat breakfast.
Yes, another reason for eating breakfast is because you need food for you to do well in classes. Your body and your brain are not going to function as good as they could because you have no energy and no strength. When you try to learn something and have nothing in your stomach, you are going to have a lot of trouble succeeding. A lot of people think that they should not eat breakfast because they are going to feel tired. But that's not true. Breakfast is not a very big meal, and on the contrary, you are going to feel tired if you don't have breakfast because you have spent the entire previous night without food.
Alright, so the last reason to have breakfast every day is because you can avoid diseases. If you eat some breakfast in the morning, if you don't eat, you are going to get sick.
That's right.
And these diseases will have a stronger effect on you because you're going to get sick easier than people who have breakfast every day. So you have to realize that breakfast is the most important meal of the day and you cannot skip it without consequences to your health. At your school and your defense mechanism, it is better to wake up earlier and have a good breakfast than to run to school without eating anything it is time for you to do something for your health, and eating breakfast is the best way to start your day.
Okay, so before we proceed with our question and answer portion, Mamahalia,
Yes.
let us first explain to our dear learners why this text is an example of argumentative text. So,
if we go back to our definition a while ago, an argumentative text would have a specific claim. So, in here, it has a claim that breakfast is good for us and we don't need to skip it.
That's
and
right.
also, the author was able to lay out 3 reasons for us to believe, 3 claims for us to, and evidences for us to believe the claim.
That's
pointed
right.
on the first paragraph. And lastly, also, in the concluding part or in the conclusion, there is a call to action.
Yes.
So that it is now time that you bring something for your health.
that's right, and there is also another reason, Mamahalia. The given evidences are not only simple evidences, but they are based from facts. They are proven and factual. So when you give evidences and if you are going to write something like an argumentative text or essay, when you give evidences or reasons, you have to base that on with facts.
Okay.
Yes.
So there are some observable facts, but of course, we also need to look into what authors or what science is pointing at. Alright, so this time, let us complete the sentences with the information we extract from the text. So the main idea of the essay, what could be the main idea of the essay?
Okay, so if you can see on your screen,
Yes.
learners, there are 4 options, but we will reveal the correct answer for you. So the correct answer is
Letter.
letter A.
Yes,
The main idea is
of eating breakfast, especially for students
Yes.
like you.
okay. And for number 2, the main idea of the essay is found in what paragraph? If you are going back, you are going to read more, or we are going to flashback the text, we can find that.
Actually, the thesis statement
There.
is normally at the beginning part, so it should be
Yes.
in the introduction. So the correct answer for that question is
Of
letter
course.
C. It's on the
Introduction. That's right. And for the third item, Mamahalia, the following are importance of eating breakfast for students, except. So, be careful of this word, learners, the word except meaning asa may walay, labot
Yes,
ani.
that's correct. Usually, this is bold and capitalized on
Yes.
your SLMs.
Okay,
Alright,
so
so
The
correct
answer,
answer is letter
C, to minimize
Alright.
carbohydrates in one's diet. Although it is true, Mamahalia, that we need to minimize carbohydrates in our diet, but it is not mentioned in the texts.
Yes, that's
Yes.
correct. So it is now your turn, learners, for for you to get your activity sheets in English, and of course read the directions. The directions would be to read and extract information from the given selection through choosing the word or group of words that best complete each sentence.
That's right.
So encircle the letter of the correct answer.
Just like we had in our example.
Alright,
And for
your
our
activity
activity
number
two,
2 is to complete the following outline and details of the essay. Each corrected line is equivalent to 5 points for a total of
40
40
points.
points.
You can do it, learners.
yes. So stay tuned because we will be right back still here in Astral Academy's Cyber School.
Tayo It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fine. Masaya, tutok na. Tayo, tayo na. Let's come and learn together, supporting one another. We love, we care, we share. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very fun. Masaya, tutok na. It's tangkop, tangkop, tangkop time. We learn all things, it's very.
And we are back, still here in Astral Academy Cyber School.
Alright, so hello there to all our
Hello.
grade 10 learners. Your competency is actually to critique a literary selection based on the archetypal approach.
Yes.
Okay, so let us have some recap of what archetypal literary criticism is. It is actually a theory that interprets a text by focusing on the recurring myths and archetypes in the narrative and symbols, images, and character types in a literary work.
Okay, so by the way, Mama Halia, I observed that from the first week, previous weeks that we have in English 10, the skill that our grade 10 learners were
Have
focusing
been
is
learning
how to
Critique.
critique. So, but in a different way. This time in archetypal approach.
So what is an archetype, Ma'am Pink?
Okay, an archetype means it is an original form. It refers to the universal symbols, theme, characters, and images we find repeated throughout literature.
Yes, that's correct. So there are actually some archetype categories. So for example, you have what we call the archetypal conflict. Young versus old,
Yes.
strong versus weak, the rich versus the poor, dreams versus reality.
Anywhere, anytime. This is applicable
Yes,
worldwide.
Yes, even if the text is produced in Asia, for example, or in Latin America, still these archetypes, these categories are universal.
That's right.
Okay,
Even
next.
on our own locality,
Yes,
we can
that's
observe
correct.
this.
Next archetype, Ma'am Pinks,
Is the archetypal character. So, example, the innocent, the youth, bully, the devil, dreamer, the scapegoat, the outcast, magician, shrew or the nagger. Is this one?
the nag.
The nag, the warrior, or the dragon slayer. We love
So,
these stories.
Yes,
having
that's
these
correct.
characters.
So these are specific character archetypes. We also have archetypal situations. So what are examples of archetypal situations? The coming of age, for example, being tempted.
Yes.
Okay, that's why there are a lot of, if you notice, there are a lot of stories or teleseries
That the characters-
yes, that the characters were tempted.
That's right. And there are many temptations surrounds
lurking
us.
around. Okay, so also another archetypal situation would be the making of a sacrifice.
I love that.
Yes.
And
I remember the song we listened a while ago, the Mapa.
Oh,
the
yes.
sacrifice of a mom and a dad.
and the appreciation
Yes.
of the
Of the
child
yes,
to
that's
the hard
correct.
work of their
parents. Falling from a higher position.
Yes.
So this is also a specific archetypal situation. Dying, being
reborn.
So yeah, because in some literature they believe in rebirth,
That's right.
reincarnation.
Okay.
Okay. So loss of innocence. Okay, so this is also an
Some of the
archetypal.
archetypal situations
situation.
and many others.
Yes.
We also have the archetypal myths. Example, the Adam and Eve, David and Goliath, the Garden of Eden, Samson and Delilah.
Yes, all of these are found
Yes, in
in
fact,
just one
yes,
holy book.
that's right. And we have a different versions of this from one
Yes.
place to another, but still the story remains the same. Siguro, the characters, for example, in the Philippines are Filipinos, and you know what, inspired by Juan de la Cruz.
That's correct.
But still, the story is the
The
same.
same. Like for example, we also have adaptations of some, like for example, The Hunchback of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo, when it has been adapted in the Philippines in Campanerang, Cuba, right? So, I can still remember
Can
the
you
song
recall
of
that,
things.
learners?
Ang tunay bang pagmamahal ay
Wow.
may mukha?
Singer.
Namimili ba ng dapat mahalin? Something like that. So,
Yes.
that learners, it speaks about the same love, the same burning passion. So, it has
Yes.
been an archetype. So, next, you also have Mamping.
The archetypal symbols, the water, sea, garden, fire, rain, flowers, flooding, sun.
And even colors.
Colors.
Yes, that's correct. So when you can see red, fiery red. So this could be a symbol for burning
Yes,
passion,
bravery,
love,
courage,
yes,
love.
sacrifice for one's
How about
nation.
water?
Water.
Life.
Water has a lot of symbolisms actually. So it could also be a symbol for, yes, aside from life, it could also be a symbol for rebirth.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And
so in your
we are
activity,
now-
learners, you actually need to read The Story of an Hour, written by Kate Chopin, then write a literary criticism using the archetypal approach. If it is still, this is a technique, if it is still hard for you to make a critique of this story, you can actually find, there are a lot of references for a
Yes.
literary critique. You just need to understand their criticism, pick out the ones that will suit you and your understanding about the selection.
Okay.
Not
so
everything, do not copy and paste, okay?
You rephrase.
Yes, rephrase. That's why
Para
your
dili halata.
talent in paraphrasing is very much important.
Of course, and we're done with our lesson for this week, Mamahalia. And of course, for our third attendance
Attendance
marker,
marker.
our dear junior high school learners, we have here on top of our screen, just take note of that.
Yes, and we would like to thank, before we end, our executive producer, Sir Gasapi, for the all-out support.
Thank you, sir.
Also, we would like to thank our production team, the entire team working for this, and our dear learners, and of course, their parents.
That's right.
Yes, for the continued
Thank you so
patronage.
much.
So this has been Mama Halia from Santa Maria National High School.
And I am your Ma'am Pinky Del Castillo, still here, still from Sumirap National High School.
This is
Astral Academy Cyber School.
See you again next week, same time.
Yes.
Same
Bye-bye.
day. Bye-bye. Thanks a lot.